So yeah, now the nerdy news.
Yes,
network,
now it's
Corey.
time for the news.
Right. I've titled the first bit on here Superman set photos.
Yes.
I will not be talking about Superman.
Well, let's start with Superman because it'll be fairly brief. We've seen his suit in a
The suit
poster.
looks better.
The
The suit looks better.
suit
They
looks.
fixed the collar.
So I actually don't think the color's changed. I think it's
No,
just.
it has.
Has it? Because is it not just
Yeah.
like now he's actually stood up? I think that.
No, because before the collar came straight across here in the set photo. Now it comes down and then goes across.
Oh, maybe
And
they did
that I
tweak it.
don't think that was an angle.
Okay.
I think that is they've changed the collar slightly.
Obviously, with that poster, we said like the lighting of it, whatnot. It's hard to tell. Suit
It's
looks
so
great.
vibrant.
Yeah,
It's so vibrant.
It's so bright. Colors
Put
are
it
great.
this way. I saw a Schneider cultist tweet, "It looks too much like a comic book. I don't like it."
What? Excuse me, mate.
And with,
it's a comic book film.
Yeah. And being the kind of people we are, where we're screaming, make it more like comic books.
Yeah.
I agree with him. It does look too much like, not too much. It looks like a comic book.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. It looks
And
great.
James Gunn said that's what he wants to do with the DCU. So
Yes.
this is great.
It looks phenomenal. It looks great on him.
Mm.
I'm so happy with that. But.
You can now express your joy for the rest of these set photos.
You know what? I'm going to read out these tweets as I sent them to Tori. So I sent them the first one that leaked. And I went, I know you don't know much about Mr. Terrific, but that jacket fucks, which it does. Then I sent him another one where you can see the front of it a little bit. And then we got ones where you can see the back of it and you can see his sleeve better and you can see the iconic fair play on his sleeve. My God, this Mr. Terrific costume fucks in one of the most aggressive ways I've seen a comic book costume fuck. It is crazy. They could start selling £500 jackets, like film quality jackets of that right now, and they would sell so many. The amount of people I've seen tweeting going, I need to be able to buy that jacket right now because it looks so damn good.
I think this gives, like, obviously we haven't seen anything really till these are the first set photos of anything. So it's like we've been hoping that James Gunn's not been lying to us. We've been hopeful that okay, he's going to do this the way he's saying he is. I think this is the first indication that okay, yeah, he's it looks like comic book accurate suits. It has that vibe. It's brighter colors. It's more like straight from the comic books. Hopefully that means then the rest of what he said is actually going to be true. So it kind of raises that, okay, bit more trust in him now.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
There's one shot of them stood outside a bank, I assume, where they're both kind of looking up in like their superhero poses. And I'm like, I can see that in a comic book. The yellow S on the back of the cape, it just is so good. Like for what feels like 2 years straight, and I've just been screaming, we need comic books to be brighter, more colourful. I want to feel like I'm watching a comic book. And these suits nail that. Like, genuinely, that Mr. Terrific costume might already be a top 5 comic book movie costume. Like, it's crazy.
It is good.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not in love with some of the unneeded lines on the Superman costume. But I'm also not one of these people who like froths at the mouth at the over-designed MCU-ified costumes with like loads of panels and stuff. Because I get a lot of the time in comic books, costumes are under-designed to make them easier to draw lots of pages of. A little bit of it to just give it a bit of depth and texture. I don't dislike. And I think the Superman suit has kind of nailed it.
Yeah, you've also got to remember, like, on camera, it will come across different. Because, especially in action scenes, like he's going to be moving so fast, like you're not going to pick up on all of that detail, but it'll add depth to it so it doesn't just look like a flat blue where he's like moving and stuff. It's going to be stuff that helps it on camera, which a photo doesn't really sell very well.
And the other thing that got leaked the day after. So we've seen David Cornsweet in the Superman outfit. He looks like Superman. He is Superman. The day after we saw him in his Clark Kent get up.
And he looks different.
this is the first time in my life I get how someone could so easily fall for the Clark Kent outfit. Like the way Christopher Reeves did it was all in the way he acted.
Mm,
So like when he was Superman, he stood at his like 6'3" height and he opened up his chest and he lowered his voice slightly and he spoke
yeah.
clearly. And then when he
Mm,
was Clark Kent, he brought his shoulders forward a little bit, slouched a little bit to bring himself down to like 6 foot. And
yeah.
he was a bit more quiet and bumbly and blah, 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 blah. And like that was enough for me to be like, yeah, no one would think twice. You see a man flying around who looks a little bit like your friend Clark, but Clark can't spit 2 words out. But with David Cornsworth, they've also managed to make the look different. He looks a bit more bumbly. Obviously, it's a still photo, but he doesn't look as he hasn't got the same poise. But also, they don't slick his hair when he's Clark.
Yes.
They let him have his natural textured hair, which changes the looks. I love it. Everything about the way they're doing the costume, the hair, the makeup
Yeah.
fills me with so much confidence.
Yeah, I've gone and looked at the pictures again. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you can tell that the difference is the slicking the hair back, it changes it. Like that makes
so
such a
much.
difference because that with glasses really does change how like you perceive someone's face.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So well done.
I'm so excited for that.
So,
And I've got a feeling as more stuff comes out, I'm just going to get more excited.
I think so.
It's been confirmed by Deadline that Marvel will be heading back to San Diego Comic-Con and making an appearance in Hall H this year. Who?
Which I'm not.
It's got to be a trailer-heavy one, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that they're back. I think we sort of assumed this last year they didn't go because of all the strikes. Lots of things were delayed. It kind of didn't make sense for them.
I think our big concern last year was with D23 being a thing. We were worried they were going to stop doing
true.
that and just do it all at D23. So the fact they're going back now, that they definitely have something to talk about, I'm like, okay, good. They're not going to just leave Comic-Con to die.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it is later in the notes, but because it's San Diego Comic-Con, we'll talk about it now. James Gunn has said he's not going to be there because of filming commitments. That doesn't necessarily mean we don't get anything on DC.
No, we will absolutely get something.
Yeah, it just means he won't be there to present it.
There might be something to do with Creature Commandos or something.
True, probably will be.
But yeah, just because he won't be there in person doesn't mean we won't get something. This is a little bit adjacent to what we're doing, but Miyazaki says he's interested in doing an Elden Ring movie if a strong partner came into play, according to the Video Game Chronicle. So obviously, we normally talk about gaming when Josh is here, and he will definitely talk about the Elden Ring DLC when he's on in a couple of weeks' time. But while I don't enjoy playing Soulsborne games, I love watching them. They're a lot of fun to watch, especially Elden Ring. The lore is intense. Don't get me wrong. You get someone really good to write a script set in this universe, though. With the quality of gaming adaptations we've seen, there's money to be made there. I think he's completely right in going only if a strong partner came into play. And by strong partner, I assume he means someone who isn't looking to make a quick buck, but is rather like, right, let's make an Elden Ring movie.
There's like so much deep lore there that you could have an incredible this high fantasy, like dark sort of world to do like that in a film. And I mean, I see this either you get like a live action that someone puts the work in for, or this could very strongly do well as like an animated or an anime film rather than just an animation. Like you could very easily do this as like a full-on animated thing, and it would be incredible.
The stylistic choices being made in animation films would fuck in the Elden Ring world.
It would be fucking great.
Yeah. So again, I trust Miyazaki will only allow it to be an option if the right person with the right ideas comes to the table. But it's an exciting notion.
It is.
Ebon Moss-Bachrach, obviously cousin
in the boys,
from the Bear, and has been cast as the Thing in Fantastic Four. Has in an interview said he's been prepping for his role by staring at rocks. And they said, no, but for real, he's also downloaded Marvel Unlimited onto his iPad to read comics. Now, I've seen a couple of takes on this, which I actually do agree with.
Okay.
Every character in the early days of the MCU, the actor in costume had a photo op with a comic like they were reading it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the actors didn't read the comics. I'm saying that photo op was always incredibly staged.
Yeah.
Him saying he's downloaded Marvel Unlimited onto his iPad to read comics shows that he is actually studying.
Yeah.
Because Marvel Unlimited is the Marvel subscription service where you get access to all the comics and everything online. That is, it's like, oh no, look, I went out and bought this really rare vintage comic. That's completely different to going, yeah, no, I downloaded the app and I'm reading the comics.
Yeah.
Like, that screams, no, I'm actually reading the comics, because why would I spend hundreds of dollars on a bunch of comics when I can just get the subscription?
I can see him even have asked the writers, be like, right, which Fantastic
what do I
Four,
need?
which comics have you been looking at, like, and pulled from? And he's just made a list and he's going through and reading them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very exciting. I love him. After watching the bear, I said to you, I was like, I can see him as the
Yes.
thing. We're going to be absolutely fine. So I'm very, very excited for that. This is one we had not discussed up until now, and I'll be honest, it's because I didn't realize it was going to be on Prime Video. So I assumed we wouldn't be able to easily watch it. We might have to cover this because
Yeah.
the first trailer for Batman Caped Crusader, the period piece set in like the 40s, which is an animated project, is coming to Prime Video on August 1st. And we've had our
Yes.
first trailer for it. It looks good.
It does. I mean, it gave me similar vibes in art style and quality to like Invincible.
Yes.
I don't know if it's done by the same studio or not. Like art
I don't believe it is,
studio.
but it
But
looks
it's
good.
that
It's written
modern animated style.
Yeah, it's written by the same people who wrote the original, like the 90s animated Batman show.
Right, okay.
Matt Reeves was an executive producer on it.
Cool.
I'm going to give it a go. It's on
Yeah.
Prime Video. It's not a pain in the arse to watch. Thank you, DC, for listening for once. It looks cool.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
clearly
down
quite a
for an
new
animated
Batman
Batman.
because, yeah, in the trailer, a lot of the time they're talking about, oh, what do we know about this Bat dude? So he's clearly pretty new.
Yeah.
Set in a period piece, which means there shouldn't be as much gadgets. It might be more detective focused, which is going to be fun to see in an animated medium for sure.
Yeah, I'm all for
it. Right. On the official Marvel podcast, which has recently been launched,
Unfortunately,
Kevin
isn't
Feige,
us.
Yeah. Kevin Feige has said that Fantastic Four is set in the 60s. And he also teased that it's set in an alternate universe to the main MCU timeline.
Which I feel like was our theory, right?
It had been
one of
widely
them.
reported. It had been widely reported that was what was happening, with enough kind of backing that we were like, that makes a lot of sense. I can see why they would do that. To the point where, although it had not been officially confirmed, we were like, I would be surprised at this point if that wasn't the case. It's been all but confirmed now. It's been confirmed that it's definitely set in the 60s. It's been all but confirmed that it's in an alternate universe.
Yeah, and I mean, it's on, like, you can't dispute it. It's from Kevin on the official Marvel podcast.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to have been the official Marvel podcast, would have been great.
DC was still here.
This is true. Kind of cool that we are getting one, and that maybe is going to be their avenue for earlier teasers on things, which I mean is great for us anyway.
My bigger issue is with an official Marvel podcast is it gives them more control over their own rhetoric.
Yeah,
and it hurts us, and I don't mean us as in like, oh, we're so important. I mean like content creators who make content around stuff, and for a long time that was how they got information out to fans, working with content creators and stuff like that. There's less need for that, and I think that's just overall a bad thing. But hopefully it can just be used as a thing to give us cool little tidbits like this.
It'll be cool, whether they do this or not, it'd be cool to see if they use this as a way to collaborate with other podcast creators and have them on for like an episode or something. And that's kind of their way of like kind of blending things into these communities.
Hopefully. That'd be a good way to use it.
Yeah.
Lanterns, which we've heard lots of rumblings about as a
Yes.
Max show about Green Lantern Corps, kind of a True Detective vibe, is what we've been
Mm-hmm.
hearing. Has now officially been properly greenlit with scripts and all
Okay.
for 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It is not going to be straight to Max. It's going to be going to HBO first so that they can call it a HBO original.
Right.
It will then be moving to Max. And the story is said to be following Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan as they try and solve a mysterious murder in the Midwest, I believe.
Interesting.
It's not perhaps relevant, but there is a lot of rumblings that apparently certain people in power have realized that Max is terrible branding. So a lot of the stuff that was apparently going to be straight to Max is now going on HBO first, so they can call them HBO originals. So when they're advertising them on Max, they can go HBO original Lanterns is on Max.
Yeah, I saw that a lot of the shows are still going to be branded as HBO shows on
Yes.
Max.
Yes. Which is just hilarious. It's
So,
almost like a bunch of people when they announced Max, when that is a terrible name.
how long do you reckon before Max gets rebranded and relaunched? Sort of
I
like
honestly, here's the
soft
thing.
reboot.
I think they don't want to do it because they've rebranded it so many times. But at
Yeah,
this
but these
point, they've
companies don't fucking
rebranded it
care.
so many times. Rebranding it again and just doing a good job this time isn't actually a problem.
The thing is, like, we've seen they could. It'll be at least 12 months. They'll give it 12 months, maybe 2 years, but this is going to get rebranded again. And it wouldn't surprise me if it just goes back to HBO or some iteration including HBO.
Just do like a HBO Plus. While I don't like naming conventions,
Mm.
the service and then the plus was actually a really succinct, clear way of knowing what was going on.
See, but yeah, they just do something better.
Yeah.
Simple. The Boys.
The Boys has its worst ever user rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh no, I wonder why that is.
But despite that, viewership's seen a 21% raise over season 3, which was their best ever season.
But Connor, that doesn't add up. How
It
would that
doesn't,
work?
does it? It's almost as if a bunch of right wingers have realised that they're the butt of the joke, are still hate watching it and review bombing it.
Almost like the same people that are realizing they aren't actually Star Wars fans and they're review bombing Acolyte as well.
Did you see that while trying to review bomb the Acolyte, they also review bombed a bunch of other things called the Acolyte that weren't the show? So there was a film from like 2008 that got review bombed out of nowhere with people going, Disney ruined Star Wars for some like Eastern European film.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, we've been loving The Boys. Obviously, a lot of people are loving The Boys. It's growing. It's getting better. And this just shows that small, loud communities would like to review bomb, and it doesn't actually prove anything.